My name is Olivia Bennett. I'm 34 years old. The message came at 7:42 inches the morning. I remember the exact time because I stared at it for nearly a minute before I understood what I was reading. We're done with you. Any issues go through my attorney? That was how my father ended 29 years of being my parent. Not a call, not a conversation, not even anger shouted over the phone. Just 10 words, cold enough to feel rehearsed. It happened because I said no, or maybe because for the first time in my life, I didn't immediately say yes. 3 days earlier, he had sent me a link, a brand new luxury SUV, fully loaded. The exact trim, the exact color, the exact dealership, no greeting, no explanation, only one word. This. I didn't reject him right away. I told him the truth. It was a difficult time. My company was in the middle of a product launch. Payroll had tightened. Legal costs from an acquisition were sitting on my desk, waiting to explode. I said I couldn't justify spending that much right now. I told him maybe later, maybe in a few months, maybe we could look at something more practical. That was enough. He exploded, called me selfish, ungrateful, said success had changed me, said he always knew money would make me forget where I came from. He listed every sacrifice he claimed he made for me, every roof, every meal, every birthday, as if parenthood had been a loan collecting interest. The strange thing was, while he was talking, memories kept interrupting him. Me working 3 jobs in college. Me eating instant noodles for weeks. Me taking loans because nobody helped. Me building my business in a freezing basement with 1 space heater and 2 maxed credit cards. And him drinking through most of my late teens while our family credit score collapsed around us. But none of that mattered anymore. Apparently what mattered was the SUV. So the next morning, I got the message. We're done with you. Any issues go through my attorney? A few years earlier, that text would have destroyed me. I would have cried, called Bagel, apologized for things that weren't mine to apologize for. But something inside me was tired, not angry, just tired. I typed 1 word. Understood. Then I made coffee, opened my laptop, and started closing everything. The emergency savings account I had quietly built for my parents since the pandemic. Gone. The checking account I topped up every month so they never worried about groceries or gas. Transferred. The business credit card I gave them years ago. Cancelled. Insurance payments. Paused. Automatic transfers. Deleted. By noon, every thread connecting my finances to their lives had disappeared. Not because I wanted revenge, because I finally understood something terrifying. My father didn't see me as his daughter anymore. He saw me as infrastructure. And when infrastructure stops working, people get angry. The first day passed quietly. The second too. Then my mother called ons twice, 4 times, 7. I answered on the 7th call. She skipped. Hello? Olivia. Why are the accounts empty? Her voice already sounded panicked. Paper shuffling. Computer keys. That familiar edge she got when she was trying not to lose control. I stayed quiet. She asked again. Louder this time. I finally said, because Dad made it clear I'm not family anymore. Silence. Heavy silence. Then she asked something that almost made me laugh. What does that have to do with me? I leaned back in my chair. Because I remembered sitting in their living room 3 nights earlier, while my father called me spoiled, disrespectful, a disappointment, and my mother sitting beside him, nodding, not defending me, not stopping him, just agreeing quietly. Now she said she didn't mean it, that emotions were high, that I was sensitive. I almost repeated the word out loud, because sensitivity was apparently what they called memory. I asked how long they had been using those accounts. She hesitated. Too long. Then, the truth started coming out. They had been using the savings account to cover credit card bills. Mortgage payments had stopped coming from their own checking months ago. Mina was easier. They hadn't made a full mortgage payment themselves in almost a year. I sat up. Then more. 3 months behind. Utilities close to shut off. Credit cards nearly maxed. A payday loan my father never told her about. And suddenly, the room felt smaller, because while I was building a future, they had quietly moved into it. Without telling me, without asking, she started crying. Said my father didn't mean what he said. Said it was pride, stress, embarrassment. I listened while opening the mortgage portal. I still had access. 3 months overdue. Over $7,000. Then I checked the savings account history. Empty. Completely empty. I had transferred over $25,000 there during the past year. Gone. Next came the credit card. Nearly maxed. Food delivery. Online purchases. Streaming subscriptions. And one charge that made my stomach turn. Golf retreat deposit. That was when I understood. The SUV had never been a fantasy. He was planning it. Planning to use my money. My mother was still talking. Mentioning Christmas. Old memories. Family vacations. Trying to pull me backward. But my mind had already gone somewhere else. To every time I told myself they needed help. Every time I ignored the discomfort. Every time I thought love meant paying. Then she whispered, "Olivia, please, just help us this once." I closed my eyes, because we both knew it wasn't once. It had never been once, and for the first time in my life, I said no. My mother went quiet after I said it. Not angry, not defensive, just quiet in the way people become when they realize the script stopped working. For years, there had always been another sentence, another compromise, another transfer, another rescue. This time, there was only silence. She tried once more, softer now. Said they would pay me back. Said they only needed time. Said I didn't understand how difficult things had become lately. Then she told me my father was embarrassed, ashamed. That was why he hadn't called himself. I almost laughed, because shame had never stopped him before. Not when he sent me the SUV link, not when he cut me off, not when he threatened attorneys. But now that the money was gone, suddenly there was shame. I ended the call politely, then sat alone in my office, staring at the city outside my window. It was raining, the kind of gray afternoon that made glass buildings disappear into the sky. I should have gone back to work. Instead, I opened a folder on my desktop, Future Planning. Inside was another folder, Mon, Dad, Mortgage Payoff Projections, Estate Planning Notes, Messages with my financial advisor, 5 years of planning. Because I had been preparing something they never knew existed, I wanted to pay off their house one day, quietly. No speeches, no celebration, just freedom. I had already started moving money into a trust account for it. I deleted the folder. Then I called my accountant. Remove the family allocation from next year's projections. She paused. The quarterly support account too. Yes. All of it. All of it. There was another pause. Then she quietly said, "Okay." When the call ended, I sat there for a long time. Not crying. Not angry. Just grieving something invisible. The version of my parents I kept trying to save. The next day, my father emailed. No apology. Not really. 3 paragraphs. Clean. Businesslike. He said he never intended things to escalate. Said he regretted the misunderstanding. Then immediately shifted to how unfortunate it was that I had reacted by removing support so abruptly. Support. He called it support. Like it was a software feature. Like I hadn't spent years feeding money into their lives. He said my actions placed them in a difficult position. Said he hoped I could restore the accounts. No mention of the SUV. No mention of the text. No acknowledgement that he cut me off first. The email ended with, "Family is forever." I stared at that sentence for a long time. family, forever. Interesting words from someone who tried to replace me with legal paperwork. I didn't answer. 2 more days passed. Then, another voicemail from my mother. Her voice sounded smaller. No guilt this time. No emotional hooks. Only exhaustion. The lender called. A long pause. We're 4 months behind now. My chest tightened, despite myself. She said foreclosure notices had started. Said my father stayed in the garage most nights with his laptop trying to fix things. She never asked for money. Not directly. She only said she didn't know how life became this. But I knew. It happened slowly. It happened every time they chose comfort over responsibility, because I was there. It happened every time I caught them. Then he called. My phone lit up with his name. Dad. I stared at it, waiting for the ache. Nothing came. No fear, no urgency, no instinct to answer, just stillness. He called again. He let it ring. The 3rd time I picked up, his voice sounded normal. Too normal. How are you? I said nothing. How's the business? Silence. Still seeing that guy. Daniel. My boyfriend. The man they met once and immediately dismissed because he wasn't ambitious enough. He worked in environmental restoration. Quiet life. Quiet heart. My father thought quiet men were weak. I still said nothing. Eventually, the performance cracked. He sighed. We need to talk seriously. There it was. He admitted they had gotten used to my help. Admitted maybe they relied on it too much. Admitted maybe he said things he didn't mean. Then I asked him something simple. What was the last thing you said to me? Silence. He knew. Long silence. Finally, I was angry. I waited. He kept going. You hurt my pride. My fingers tightened around the phone. You had more than enough. Olivia? You could have bought the damn SUV. It wasn't like you'd missed the money. Everything inside me went still, because there it was, the truth. Not hidden, not softened. Plain. You had enough. You wouldn't miss it. I looked around my office. The business I built. The company that cost me years. The sleepless nights. The panic attacks. The loneliness. And suddenly, I heard myself speaking before I planned to. I missed every dollar. Silence. I missed health insurance because I paid your medical bills. Silence. I missed investing in my company earlier because I was keeping you afloat. My voice shook. I missed vacations. I missed sleep. I missed peace. I stood up and walked to the window. Rain streaked the glass. I gave because I loved you. Another silence. Longer this time. Then, softer. I regret the message. I closed my eyes. Too late. Then he said it. The house might be lost. Mom was scared. Could we revisit? Au financier arrangement? Arrangement. Not support. Not love. Arrangement. Like I was payroll. I said no. He stayed silent for a very long time. Then quietly, I hope you can live with what happens next. The line went dead. That night, an email arrived. Mortgage lender. Final notice before foreclosure. I opened it. Read every word. Hovered over the payment button. $7,000. 5 minutes. That was all it would take. One transfer. Everything fixed. I almost did it. 3 times my cursor moved. 3 times I stopped. Because I finally understood the real cost. Not money. Pattern. Every rescue taught them I would come back. Every rescue made the next fall bigger. And this time, they jumped because they expected me to catch them. I archived the email. And for the first time in my life, I let them fall. 2 days passed after the foreclosure notice. No calls. No voicemails. No emails. The silence should have felt peaceful. Instead, it felt familiar. The same silence I got in college when I couldn't send money home. The same silence after missing family birthdays because I was working 80-hour weeks trying to keep my company alive. The same silence that always appeared whenever I stopped being useful. Love had always seemed to have conditions in my family. I just never admitted it. On the third morning, my cousin texted me. We hadn't spoken in years. "Hey, are your parents okay? Your mom posted something strange." I opened Facebook. My mother had written one of those vague posts that never names anyone but somehow points at exactly one person. Some people forget where they came from. Some people abandon the people who sacrificed everything for them. Money changes hearts. Dozens of comments. Church friends. Relative. People who had no idea. Praying for you. You deserve better. Children today. Forget family values. One comment hit harder than the others. She'll realize money isn't everything one day. I stared at it, because that had never been the issue. Money wasn't everything. That was exactly why I stopped giving it. I closed the app. That same evening, my bank called. Fraud department. Someone had tried accessing the old joint savings account. The one I froze. The one that no longer existed for them. The representative asked if I wanted to reopen it. No. Simple. Final. The next morning, another text arrived. From my father, one line. You made your point. Hope it was worth the fallout. I read it twice. Then, put the phone down. Because it was worth it. Not because I wanted them to suffer. Because for the first time, I had chosen myself. Weeks passed. The house entered pre-foreclosure. I found out through lender notices. I was still listed as an emergency contact. Every email felt like a test. Every notification carried the same temptation. Click here to make a payment. I never clicked. Not once. At night, I still thought about the house. The hallway where I learned to ride a bike indoors during winter. The kitchen table where I did homework. My bedroom window facing the oak tree. Losing the house hurt. It hurt more than I expected. Because houses hold memories even when people inside them change, one evening, Daniel came over. My boyfriend stood in the kitchen making tea while I sat staring at another lender email. He didn't ask if I was okay. He already knew I wasn't. Instead, he brought the mug over and sat beside me, quiet, steady. After a while, he asked softly, "If you save them now, what changes?" I looked at him. Nothing. He nodded. That was it. No lecture. No advice. Just truth. A month later, their car was repossessed. Not the luxury SUV my father wanted. Their actual car? I found out from my mother's final voicemail. She sounded tired. Older. She said they were moving into a small rental outside the city. No accusation. No guilt. Only exhaustion. At the very end, she whispered, "I never thought we'd end up here." I listened to the message twice, then saved it, because despite everything, he still loved her. That was the hardest part. People think boundaries mean hatred. They don't. Sometimes boundaries exist because love survived longer than respect. I never stopped loving my parents. I stopped funding the version of them that only remembered I existed when they needed something. Months passed. No more calls. No birthdays. No holidays. Nothing. The silence became permanent. Sometimes I still open those old accounts. The closed ones. The empty ones. Not because I planned to send money, just to remind myself of something. They were empty. And so was the obligation. One afternoon, I found the old mortgage payoff file in my archived folders. The plan, the trust account projections, the future gift. I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it permanently. No hesitation, no backup, gone. Because that future belonged to a daughter who still believed love could be purchased. I wasn't her anymore. I built something with my life. I built a company, a future, a home. And for years, guilt convinced me all of it belonged to other people. Not anymore. My father thought losing access to me would punish me. Instead, it revealed me. The truth was simple. They gambled everything. Their finances, their house, their relationship with me, all on the belief that I would never choose myself. For 34 years, they were right. Then one morning at 7:42, they weren't, and that changed everything.